to reveal the best watches I've reviewed in 2026 so far. Let's get into it. Yes, and welcome to the Mad Watch Collector Show. And today, it's all about the best of the best. Halfway through the year, I always like to give you my favourite watches I've reviewed to see if at the end of the year, they are still my top favourite watches. But spoiler alert, there's no Tissot. But that does not mean your Tissot, sir, isn't a good one. Are you best watches of 2026 so far ready? Let's go. Right, to start this first half of 2026 best of, let's talk about my favourite type of watch, and that is the diver. And there have been two watches that have really screamed out to me way far above the rest. And no, it is not the Longines Hydra Conquest. No, my first favourite diver comes from a brand called Ulstar. Now, back in the 70s, the Ulstar Super Automatic featured on the wrist of Richard Dreyfuss in a certain just a little horror movie called Jaws, and has had a cult status ever since. However, the recent iteration of this Ulstar Super Automatic is awesome. The case has been slimmed down, it's been more refined. We've had a movement upgrade as well, while still maintaining that super automatic look. A look that is quite exclusive to this watch. First of all, I love the case shape, those cut angle lugs. Even though it's, a simple design, I guess it stops the case looking a bit Seiko-y, and that common tonneau shape that was used a hell of a lot in the 70s. This just has a more of a chiseled look. Love the no crown guards on this crown. It's a great striking bezel with a decent enough unidirectional ratchet to it. Really did love the dial. Again, simple design of the indices, but it just looks original. What does set this watch apart from others is the steel bracelet, which was true to the watch Richard Dreyfuss wore and many divers at the time wore. And although it is quite chunky and makes the overall weight of the watch quite heavy, it is a fantastic look and it really pops off the wrist without, trying to. So this 2025 edition now houses the Sellita SW200, putting a proper Swiss engine in there has really elevated this watch and the brand, and for around the £1,000 mark, it's an overall package to really get behind. My second favourite diver of the year so far is the Squale Sub 37 Legend. Now, I have been a Squale fan for a long time, having owned a 1521 in the past, but me loving a classic size and a classic vintage diving design, well, this one is pretty perfect for me. Again, big fan of the no crown guards. I'm also a lover of faux patina when it's done right. And I love the heritage of this brand, this dive watch brand, a brand that exclusively only makes dive watches. Now, inside this Swiss-made watch is a Sellita SW200-1 Elaboré movement. And like the Ulstar, runs at 28,800 beats per hour with around a 38-hour power reserve. And even though this watch is water resistant to 300 meters, it is just 11 millimeters thick, which is fantastic. Anyway, the finishing is great on this watch. The nice big chunky crown at 3 o'clock is fantastic. Love the look of the bezel, and the action is pretty good. I would have liked it to have been a bit better, but still it is decent. And again, like the Ulstar, we have a hold strap. This time, it's an FKM rubber affair, and it has that lovely whiff of vanilla. But really, this Sub 37 Legend epitomizes what I go for in watches, particularly dive watches. Great vintage looks, very well made, and is going to be versatile to hell. It's a little bit more expensive than the Ulstar, at around £1,400. You are definitely getting proper dive watch heritage and reputation. Yes, it may not fit the bigger 8-inch wrist, but this thing's an absolute beaut. Right, my second best kind of watch is a field watch. I am a big lover of a military styled looking watch. Anyway, at the start of the year, I reviewed the Seiko 5 SRPJ85K1. A watch that not only is very affordable, as some authorised dealers out there are selling these for £215, and if you're in the UK and you're perusing the Francis & Gay website, if you type in MWC15 at the checkout, well, you're going to get 15% off. Only for Seiko though. Anyway, this is the green zone midfield style. That's what they call it. Again, it's not a particularly big watch at around 36.5 millimeters in diameter. But if you know anything about field watches of the past, there wasn't a watch above 34 millimeters, you know, that were issued to the armed forces. Anyway, this thing looks cool, doesn't it? It's 100 meters water resistant. It has a hardlex protecting the dial, but I've never had a problem with hardlex. It's powered by the in-house 4R36, a very reliable automatic movement, one that epitomizes the workhorse nature of a Seiko 5 and the legacy of Seiko 5. But this one did stay with me a long time. I was very tempted to buy this, but I knew I was going to buy something a little bit similar to it, so I held off. But I think it's only a matter of time, you know. Anyway, this watch has that distinct American military field style with the 24-hour markers inside the 12-hour numerals. It just looks ready for business. Again, I love that faux patina look. Love the drab green olive NATO style strap. And it's a watch that, well, looks good on video. Look at it. So it's bound to look good on your wrist. It's a steal in my book. And for anyone that says Seiko is not the affordable watch brand it used to be, they are still there. You just have to do a bit of digging. The other favourite field watch I reviewed this year comes from a watch I just reviewed last week, and that is the Hamilton Field Mechanical 250. So like the 38 Legend that I've gone on about for the past 6 years, this watch now comes in a 36mm size, still with the fantastic H50 manual wind movement, 80 hours of power reserve, still has one of the best winds in the game. This is one of those watches that not only just looks amazing to film, but if you sink your money into watches like these, I think this was £595, it's never going to go out of style, and it's going to complement anything you wear in whatever situation. The only thing you have to be aware of with this watch is it has fixed spring bars, so you won't be able to use two-piece straps. It is a manual wind only, and they did a fantastic update from that 38 icon, making this watch water resistant to 100 meters. Protected by a sapphire glass, Swiss made all over. It's a watch I will definitely buy. I'm a fan of it.
Could you just click that like button, please? It really helps the channel. Thank you.
Now, over the last 6 months, I've really tried to get into, reviewing dressier watches, going out of my comfort zone. But there has been one that has stuck with me, so much so that there's a part of me that wants to buy it. When are you going to wear it? Oh, shut up. I just want to have fun. Yeah, don't listen to him. Yeah, should listen to you more often. But I'm talking about the Seiko Presage SPB 525J1. I mean, look at this beast. Is this beautiful or what? Now, this is from their classic series, and it is called the AI Aero Japan Blue Watch. And that dial is supposed to embody the Japanese elegance, and that hue of blue is cherished since the Edo period, like we all didn't know when the Edo period was. Anyway, ever since that period, this colour blue has been called the Japan Blue, and the texture of it is inspired by Japanese silk, a material renowned in Japan for centuries. Anyway, absolutely love the case. I love this dual curved sapphire glass. The curved hands that are just brushed are magnificent. Didn't mind the date window, which is a bonus for me. Good size crown. Really like the bracelet. Now, this watch houses the 6R55 in-house caliber. It's automatic and has a 72-hour power reserve. And even though there is, hardly nothing when it comes to lume, with a water resistance of 100 meters, this has the potential to get on the MWC wrist at some stage. Right now, you can get this watch for £900. Get the Francis & Gay discount and it's a little bit cheaper, but this watch not only looked great, it felt great, it was great. Now when it comes to chronograph or pilot's watches, there has only really been one huge winner, and it's probably, yes, it's my favourite watch I've reviewed this year, and it probably will be my favourite watch of the whole year, and I'm talking about the Hanhart 417 Ti. Now, I'm already smitten with this brand. Never thought I'd wear a watch with a bunt strap. With its history, its legacy, this watch punches so far above its weight. So much so, it has you fixed on this brand enough to not care about the big brands anymore. But at the start of the year, Hanhart released the 417 Flyback in this desert style colour and in titanium. It's the first time they ever did it, and I just think they absolutely nailed it. And it confirms my feelings when it comes to titanium and military style watches.
They just work together like peanut butter and jelly.
The matte finish to the case just, you know, emphasises tooliness. This watch came out in a limited run. I think there were 200 of the 39mm and there were 200 of the 42. Inside, these watches are powered by the AMT 5100. It's a column wheel chronograph with that flyback function, meaning I can engage the chronograph and send it back to the start without stopping it. Something that was quite useful back in the day for pilots. Anyway, sapphire sandwich. This watch does take inspiration from the more modern Primus Desert Pilot watch. Knowing what I know, as in what goes into the assembly, the testing, the retesting before it gets shipped to the customer, this brand goes above and beyond most other brands around the same price. Yes, it may not be cheap at just over £2,000, but when you compare it to a Longines Big Eye Pilot titanium that is just ridiculous money, and you take a look at the washed out, lazy approach to the Tudor Desert Ranger, this watch is incredible. Hanhart need to bring the titanium out in a regular range. Yeah? Yeah. Now, when it comes to budget, there's one specific Casio that made my dreams come true. Yes, a Japanese domestic only model, which I found on Discovery Japan, that proved you could buy a budget Casio that is solar powered. And I am talking about the WS220, a watch that is not only solar powered, not only for around 40 odd pounds, but has a feature I have been searching for around 6 to 7 years. And that is when you engage the stopwatch, you have the running man. Something I have had on a couple of vintage Casios that, you know, aren't being sold anymore. Here he is in all his glory. This watch may not have the premium feel of the rubber of the strap. It may not be constructed like a G-Shock, but this particular reference really stands out. Really clear and legible. Stopwatch, countdown timer, alarms, dual time, decent backlight.
Running man.
Just remember, if you do buy this from Discovery Japan, remember the taxes. Now, you can buy this on eBay and it's going to cost you significantly more. I worked out that it was cheaper to buy from Discovery Japan and just pay that import tax. But it's always nice to own a Casio that hardly anyone else does. You know what I mean? Now, my favourite G-Shock of the year currently is a reference I never thought I'd like ever again. In fact, I own this reference and never wore it. However, after seeing it on Dustin's wrist in Stranger Things Season 5, I got back into it. And again, on Discovery Japan, I found the GWX 5700 CS-1JF. This is from their G-Lide range, specifically marketed towards surfer dudes and dudettes. That's because it has a tide graph and a moon phase. But this bad boy is also solar powered and it has that multi-band 6 feature. And put it in a cool package where all the text on the case is white with that great moon phase graph at the top, you have got yourself a very cool looking G-Shock. And again, a G-Shock or Casio that not many other people have. Now, yes, this was £100. It's not the cheapest G-Shock you can buy. There are definitely cheaper 5700s on Amazon. Plus, you got to remember the import tax. But I think for me, this was worth it. So there we go, my favourite watches I reviewed, and of course it being only the end of June, we've got a lovely few months left of this year, but I'd love to know in the comments below, out of the last 6 months, what has been your favourite watch you have bought, and do you recommend us buying it ourselves? And even worse, did I influence you to buy it? Just apologise to the wife in advance. And if you watched till the end, you lot out there are absolute legends. You're keeping the lights on in the MWC house. Hey, what? But if you'd like to show a bit more support to the channel, we've got a Patreon now. See the shows early, blooper reels, behind the scene footage, private group chat, and get your name credited at the end of every show like this wonderful lot. What? But if I've got you here for a few more minutes, and I hope I do, you are gonna love this. This is, YouTube didn't want you to see this. Yeah, but it is awesome. Brands I don't like. How to lose friends and alienate yourself, hey? In this watch hobby. No, it's only a bit of fun. Go on, you'll love it. Click it. You'll love it. Come on, click it. Click it.